KMC4 is a marine head unit that we've had for a little bit, but a couple of interesting things about it. We've actually upgraded it and are kind of doing a re-release on the radio for a couple different reasons. One reason, it's kind of a neat little trivia deal, but the KMC4 that we offered before used the same chip that this one is using inside, but the KMC4, the chip that we were using, had the capability to add like a hands-free microphone and do Bluetooth calling. So what we've done is we've changed the back of the radio, so it's actually a little bit more shallow than the previous version of the KMC4, and we've added a hands-free microphone in the package as well. So this kind of coincides with the Power Sports Bluetooth remote and the software and everything, because now if you guys put a KMC4 in a quad side by side, or whatever you guys want to put it in, you can now mount that microphone in the vehicle, and now you've got access to hands-free calling features. So it was a simple and obvious upgrade for us because it already had the capability. All we needed to do was add a jack to it basically on the back. And then, of course, made some other improvements, making the chassis smaller so it fits in more spaces and less deep holes in the dash and things like that. Some other things about the KMC4 you guys might not be aware of. You've got tons of RCA outputs, and you do have a Zone 2 control on the KMC4. So one thing you might use Zone 2 for is like some tower speakers off the back of your quad, or maybe if you're using it on a boat, you can run the tower speakers off the rear. You know, if guys are going like skiing behind or something like that, you can control them. Yeah, with the Zone 2 controls. But something else that we like to talk about is going to be our marine zone controller. So what you're going to want to do with this, if you're pairing it with the KMC4, is to use your Zone 2 output and go and turn that all the way up in the KMC4 head unit, run it into this guy, and then now you have separate control for each one of your zones, all the way up to full volume or down to nothing. So this guy can give you control over tons and tons of different speakers in the boat.
One thing that we like to talk about when we're designing boat audio systems is it's better to have more zones than less zones. And let me describe this. So for example, here in Oklahoma, pontoon boats are a big deal because we have lots of really calm waters, which is great for a pontoon boat because it's basically a party barge. And on a pontoon setup, you'll have different zones. For example, on the front of the boat, you might have the area where I'm having a cocktail with my wife and I want some nice low music. I want to be able to talk to her, just have music as a background. So I've got one zone for that. Well, then you've got the cockpit where I'm driving the boat, and there I might want to have a completely different set of speakers so I can control that volume individually as well. And then, of course, there's the swim deck where the kids are hooting and hollering out back, and they want it loud, so I've got speakers aimed out like KMTC's aimed out back with its own volume control, and so I can control the volume throughout the boat individually depending on what's going on in that area of the boat. And a great analogy is if you've ever been to a restaurant and you're sitting right beneath the speaker, like Cafe Mona. I love Cafe Mona here in Stillwater. Great Mexican restaurant. We had lunch there today. But there's one booth table that has a speaker right above it, and that speaker is always way too loud. And the reason is that speaker has to fill half of the dining room from one speaker. So if you're here, it's too loud. If you're over there, you can barely hear it. Well, if you have multiple zones, multiple speaker setups, you can level the volume to a comfortable level throughout the environment without having hot spots. And that's the beauty of having multi-zone control. Now this is also able to be disassembled, and these have separate circuit boards. So if you wanted to take apart this case and move these different volume controls to different locations of the boat, you can do that too, because they simply plug in with a, what is it, RJ45? RJ45 cable, so you can move these all over the boat. And because the audio does not pass through that, it's just a control voltage, you don't have to worry about picking up noise somewhere in the boat. So this is a great accessory to add to the KMC4 in any audio system, including RVs.